Pension for peddling falsehoods reached an alarming level at the weekend over rumored creation of 20 additional states in Nigeria. But the Senate has debunked the rumor. The spokesman of the upper legislative chamber, that's Senator Ajibola Bashiru, said the Constitution Review Committee never made such proposal, saying the Constitution is clear on the process required for state creation. Judy, I don't know, even you see our national, they will still take this story. The senators, they're on vacation, and I know those ones that they've been given the responsibility of reviewing the Constitution. This sounds so ridiculous. 20 more states to what we have.
We sat down here, and some people came up with the lying propaganda that the Supreme Court had given the Bune-led theatrical committee the all clear, whereas no such thing happened. The Supreme Court didn't sit, and even in its judgment, there was no consequential remark that was made to that effect. But people went to town with it. In a season when clearly even journalists are not doing their work of due diligence and filtration and even gatekeeping very well. So these days, when you see an headline, as a journalist, the first thing to do is simply to first doubt it. Doubt it. Don't just believe, because it's so easy to mislead people. Falsehood is now not just walking on two legs, but its legs are nimble. So people just get deceived by all kinds of stories.
So gullible.
Yes, and when I saw this, I was like, what? When did this happen? But I'm happy that the Senate didn't waste time. They got their spokesman, our own Ajibola Bashir, to quickly deny it and remind Nigerians of the fact that it's a lot easier in today's Nigeria for the camel to pass through the eye of the needle than to have states created. Military regimes, they will have their AFRC meeting or PRC meeting, as the case may be, and they will agree. The map will even be drawn overnight. They will agree, okay, we are creating so number of states.
This will be the state capital of this state.
This is where it will be. Nobody will argue. If you put a state capital at the end of a state, just as it happened in the case of Delta, nobody will ask questions. Shouldn't this, for administrative convenience, have been in the middle of the state? Nobody will ask questions. If you are planning to create Adeja State, and then there was a disagreement, you then made up your mind that no, we are not going to create Adeja State anymore. We are creating Jigawa State. Nobody will ask questions. People could, in anger, then go and attack some people that they felt caused that to happen. But Nigerians won't ask questions. The military have shown that it is a lot easier for them to create states than civilian regions. And some of these stipulations that are there, if we have to go into them, you know that it's going to be difficult. For me, I don't even see why anybody should be talking about creation of new states now. Well, whether we like it or not, once we start this kind of debate, it will not stop. People will be in one state and feel, this state, we are marginalized here. Give them their own state. Some people will still complain. You might have the same religion, the same ethnicity. It doesn't mean that you will not have disagreements. After all, look at a country like Somalia. The same religion, they are the same people really. But do they have peace? So that is your own people that came together to form a state. It's not a guarantee that you are going to have peace. It is when we commit to living happily and in peace with one another that we can guarantee peace. And then with peace, progress will happen. So given the state of things in our country, I don't even think it makes sense to be talking about creating states.
Even the ones down ground, a lot of people will still argue that 85% of them are at the verge of going bankrupt. That's in, if you want to check the health of the states right now, the ones that can afford minimum wage, the ones that can afford to pay their responsibilities and carry out infrastructural development and everything, you can hardly count 10 states.
I think it was Alabija Kondi who said that the purpose of state creation was for distribution of amenities to everybody. But in the last 20 years, I know that that's no longer the case. States are now used basically as fiefdom by whoever is the reigning governor at that point in time. And so the things that states were created for in the first place no longer apply in this case. Number two, it doesn't make sense. Right now, the bureaucracy in Nigeria is top heavy. A lot of people are having salaries and they are doing the same job across. Personally, I don't see why the 6 states in the southwest should all have a minister for works. Or the central southeast, which is the equivalent of your states, should have 5 ministers for works or 5 commissioners for works. There are things that should be brought together to solve the problem that we face. We keep creating more and more bureaucracy when we need to really sanitize our governments. Personally, left to me, the local government should be transferred to zones, to regions, and regions should bring states together to minimize costs, not to increase it.
You know, Julie, leave it, take it, everything we have right now. Some people are still telling us even to go back to regional arrangement instead of this bogus 36 states we have, not to talk of. Some people are even saying for balance that a particular region will need to be, while others are
Southeast, you have one more state.
That they should have 6, 1 additional state.
Yes, I'm not against an extra state for the south, so that we can have that balance. Southeast, sorry, so that we can have that balance. I think they deserve an extra state, not because it's such a big place geographically, no, but at least in terms of their population, is the 3rd largest ethnic group in our country. So it makes sense to give them that's one state, so that we can have that balance. Every geopolitical zone, the same number of states. So that makes sense. And some of the people who always say that the Southeast gets your change. Maybe when we do that, they won't be able to point at that one as evidence. So, but generally speaking, I don't think that we need new states. I don't think we can create more local governments as a way of, ensuring that we take development to every nook and cranny of a state. But I don't think creating new states is the when the ones that we have created, they are literally bankrupt. Before the month ends, they run out of money. They have to go to Abuja and wait for the distributable revenue from the center once again.
Okay, so Mahmoud, I think Mahmoud is back. State creation, how desirable?
Yes.
Yes, people are canvassing for more states to be created.
Do you agree?
I don't think there is a lot of sympathy in Nigeria for the creation of more states, because anybody can see that the 36 states that we have at present, most of them are not even viable. We are still talking about many months unpaid salaries, inability to pay hazard allowances, and doctors are going on strike and all kinds of things. So in that kind of situation, to ask for more states is really to call for trouble. And you see, the procedure for creating states under the Constitution is very, very cumbersome, almost impossible. Actually, the only time that a state was created under a civilian dispensation was when the Midwestern region was carved out of the Western region in the 1960s. Since then, every state creation exercise was conducted by the military, as you pointed out, the Supreme Military Council, sometimes with a committee advice, sometimes without. They just create states. But under the civilian dispensation now, it is almost impossible. What the Senate seems to have done was to compile all the requests that were submitted to the Constitution Amendment Committee, and they are now saying, well, you go back to the procedure outlined in the Constitution, and the beginning of it is to have a referendum in your area. But even if you have a referendum in your area and the people there approve it, how do you go about getting a 2/3 majority in the National Assembly and a majority in 2/3 of the state for you to have that state? The only way it can conceivably be done is if the national leadership, let's say the president, sits together with National Assembly leaders and all the governors and agrees, for example, on some formula that, okay, maybe let's have, if it is one state for the southeast, or if it is one state per geopolitical, that kind of thing, if you have that kind of consensus, possibly. But even that now will not have much public support, because I don't really see how we can have more states in the situation that we have now. That means we'll have more governors, more state assemblies, more senators, a lot more ministries and commissioners and all other things. How can we cope? Well, we can't cope even with the present arrangement that we have. Actually, you know, if we are serious in Nigeria, the right thing to do is to reduce the number of states.
Yes.
But of course, that one would be very difficult as well, unless we reach a situation where probably the federation account shrinks so much so that there wouldn't be much money to share at the end of every month. We don't pray for that, but if we continue on this path, it may happen in the future.